My name is Sarah Miller. I'm 26 years old, and I used to believe that love could overcome anything. I met Ryan when I was least expecting it. He was kind, charming, and real, the kind of man who saw beyond my simple life and loved me for who I was. I worked as a preschool teacher, barely making ends meet. He came from a rich family that owned a real estate empire, but to me, none of that mattered. I loved him for his heart, not his money. Ryan proposed to me after a year of dating. I was overjoyed. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a future full of love, stability, and happiness. But from the beginning, there was one thing that never felt right: his mother, Judith. Judith never liked me. She never raised her voice or made a scene, but her disapproval was always clear. At first, I thought maybe she just needed time to get to know me, so I smiled when she looked down on my clothes. I stayed calm when she said I wasn't polished enough for Ryan. I even laughed it off when she hinted that Ryan needed someone who could handle the pressure of their lifestyle. Deep down, her words hurt, but I tried to stay strong and respectful. I kept thinking, if I just stay kind, she'll come around. I couldn't have been more wrong. One afternoon, Judith and I were alone in the kitchen. She calmly stirred her tea, then looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You're nothing more than a distraction, a gold digger playing the long game, and trust me, once I'm done, he'll see right through you." Her voice was calm and cold, like she was commenting on the weather. I sat there frozen, holding my mug so tightly my fingers hurt. I wanted to scream, to defend myself, but I didn't. I thought silence would keep the peace. I was wrong. Around Ryan, Judith played the part of a warm, caring mother. She never insulted me when he was around. Instead, she smiled sweetly and asked about my day. But when he wasn't looking, her mask would slip. Her tone would turn sharp. Her compliments were laced with quiet jabs. When I told Ryan how she made me feel, he brushed it off. "She's just protective, Sarah. Give her time. She'll come around." So I waited. I hoped. I endured. But things only got worse. As our wedding date approached, Judith's words became more direct. One evening, when Ryan had stepped out, she cornered me in the hallway. "You're not fooling anyone," she said coldly. "Ryan might be blinded by love, but I'm not. You're just a poor girl trying to marry up." I couldn't speak. My throat was tight with anger and sadness. I had never asked Ryan for anything, not gifts, not money, nothing, but Judith had already decided who I was, and nothing I did could change that. The pressure built. I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells, and worst of all, I felt alone. One night, I called my best friend Erica. We had known each other since college. She had always been the one I leaned on during tough times. "I don't know what to do," I told her, pacing my apartment. "Judith acts like I'm the enemy. No matter what I do, it's never enough." Erica sighed. "She sounds terrible, but you've done everything right, Sarah. This isn't your fault." Her words comforted me, for a while, but even Erica's support began to change. Weeks passed, and Erica started pulling away. She stopped answering my calls quickly. Her replies to texts were short. When we did talk, she seemed distracted. Then one day, she said something that caught me off guard. "Maybe Judith isn't that bad," Erica said casually over coffee. "She's his mom. Maybe she's just being protective." I stared at her, confused. "Since when do you think she's not that bad?" Erica shrugged, sipping her drink. "I mean, she hasn't really done anything terrible, right?" I let it go at the time, thinking maybe she was tired or distracted, but something in her tone stuck with me. Something felt off. Then came the day everything changed. Ryan told me his mom wanted us to visit for tea. "She says she wants to make an effort," he said. "Maybe she's finally coming around." I had my doubts, but for Ryan's sake, I agreed. When we got there, Judith greeted us with a fake smile. Her house was as perfect as always, everything in its place, every surface spotless. But when I stepped into the living room, I stopped in my tracks. Erica was sitting on the couch, casually sipping tea next to Judith. "Sarah," Erica said, pretending to be surprised. Her eyes flicked nervously to Judith. "What a coincidence." "A coincidence?" I asked slowly, trying to understand what I was seeing. Judith smiled. "Oh, I thought it would be lovely for all of us to sit down together. Erica has been so helpful lately." I looked at Erica, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. Her face was tight, her smile forced. "You two know each other?" I asked. confused and a little shaken. Judith answered for her. We've crossed paths. Erica's been a dear. It's always refreshing to speak with someone who understands Ryan's world. I felt like the floor had dropped out beneath me. Erica had been my closest friend, my confidant, and now she was sitting in Judith's living room like she belonged there, like they were allies. Erica finally spoke, her voice low. Yeah, it just kind of happened. Judith's been really supportive. I sat down slowly, trying to make sense of it all. My heart was pounding, my mind spinning. That was the moment I realized, I wasn't just up against Judith anymore. I was being played, and now, even the person I trusted most had turned against me. Something felt wrong the entire time, like something heavy was hanging in the air, but Ryan didn't seem to notice. He sat there, relaxed, sipping his tea like everything was perfectly normal. I couldn't shake the unease growing inside me. Judith gently placed her teacup down on the saucer, the sound small but sharp in the quiet room. Then she leaned back in her seat, her eyes drifting toward Erica with a strange look, almost like a signal. Well, Judith said suddenly, her voice light but with a strange edge to it, since we're all together, maybe it's time to bring something important out into the open. Erica, dear, why don't you tell Ryan what you told me earlier? My heart instantly sank. A cold, sick feeling washed over me. What are you talking about? I asked, looking back and forth between the two of them. My voice shook. Erica seemed nervous. Her hands were shaking slightly as she held her cup. She avoided my eyes and looked at Ryan instead, her face unusually serious. Ryan, she began, her voice soft but heavy with emotion. I didn't want to say anything at first. I really didn't, but I can't keep this to myself anymore. She paused and glanced at Judith, who nodded at her like a proud teacher pushing a student to speak up. I saw Sarah with another man, Erica finally said. The room went completely quiet. All I could hear was the pounding of my heart, thudding hard in my ears. What? I whispered, stunned. Erica, that's not true. What are you talking about? Ryan turned to look at me, his face slowly draining of color. I could see the confusion and pain growing in his eyes. Sarah, he said softly, barely getting the word out. Erica took a deep breath and kept going, her voice trembling like this was hard for her. It happened a few weeks ago, she said. I was downtown after work, just grabbing coffee, and I saw Sarah, with some guy. They were at a restaurant, laughing, holding hands, kissing. It wasn't just friendly, it was obvious. I couldn't breathe. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Erica, stop, I cried, tears already starting to fill my eyes. That never happened. You're lying. Why would you say something like that? She finally looked at me, just for a second, and in that quick glance, I thought I saw something, guilt, hesitation, but it was gone just as quickly. I'm not lying, Sarah, she said, her voice flat now. I didn't want to tell him, but I couldn't let him keep living in a lie. A lie? I repeated, my voice cracking as tears spilled down my cheeks. You're my best friend. Why would you do this to me? I love Ryan. I've never cheated, you know that. Ryan suddenly stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. His hands were shaking. Are you sure about this? He asked Erica, his voice tight and full of pain. I'm sure, she said quietly. I saw it myself. I'm sorry, Ryan, but I had to tell you. I couldn't stop crying. My whole body felt numb. Ryan, please, I said, reaching for his hand. You know me. You have to believe me. I don't know why she's doing this, but it's not true. I would never do that to you. But he pulled his hand away from mine like I'd burned him. His eyes were full of betrayal. How could you do this to me? He shouted. After everything we've been through, how could you lie to my face like this? I didn't, I sobbed. Please just listen. Get out, he snapped, his voice cracked, full of fury and heartbreak. Just get out. I can't even look at you right now. I froze. My legs felt like they would give out beneath me. I turned to Erica one last time, silently begging her to tell the truth, but she just stared down at her teacup, like she couldn't bear to meet my eyes. I picked up my bag and stumbled out, barely seeing through the blur of my tears. My world had just fallen apart. The days that followed felt like one long nightmare. I cried all the time. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I tried calling Ryan over and over. I texted him again and again. I even went to his apartment, hoping he'd talk to me, but he never opened the door. Each time I stood outside, praying he'd come out. It only hurt more. I would write long messages, pouring my heart out, hoping he'd read them. Ryan, please, just let me explain. You know me. You know I would never do this. But the texts remained unread. Every time I saw the little "delivered" sign, it felt like a slap in the face. And Erica? She vanished. No calls, no texts. I begged her for the truth. I sent her a long message asking why she lied, but all I got was silence. We were supposed to be best friends. I couldn't understand why she would hurt me like this. The image of Ryan's face, full of anger and pain, haunted me. Over and over again, I played that scene in my head. It felt like I was stuck in that moment, unable to move forward, unable to breathe. I knew Judith had something to do with it. She never liked me, but even I didn't realize how far she would go to destroy us. Ryan wasn't just heartbroken, he was unraveling. Alex and a few others started to update me, telling me things that made my heart sink. Ryan had stopped going to work. He wasn't showing up at his recovery meetings. He was hanging out in dangerous neighborhoods, slipping further into a dark place, and I couldn't reach him. I couldn't help him. And then, one night, someone knocked on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone, but when I opened it, I saw Judith. She looked nothing like the woman I knew. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen from crying. She looked completely lost. "Sarah," she said, her voice barely holding together, "please, I need your help." I stared at her in shock. "Why are you here?" I asked coldly. She stepped in without waiting for an invitation, wringing her hands. "It's Ryan," she whispered. "He's not okay, he's using again, and I don't know what to do." I folded my arms, my anger rising. "What do you expect me to do? You made sure he'd never speak to me again." Judith sat down and burst into tears. "I was wrong," she said, "so wrong. I thought I was protecting him, but I ruined everything. I destroyed him, and you." She looked up at me, tears pouring down her cheeks. "I lied," she admitted, "all of it, the cheating story, Erica, I made it all up." I froze. "You what?" I said slowly. "I paid Erica to lie," she confessed. "I gave her $100,000. I thought if Ryan believed you cheated, he'd leave you. I thought I was doing what was best for him." I stared at her, my whole body shaking. "You destroyed our lives for what? Control?" "I was trying to save him," she cried, "but now I see, all I did was break him." I couldn't believe what I was hearing, the truth finally out, but the damage already done. And now, I had to decide what to do with it.